A very wonderful morning to you out there. You're welcome to Newspaper Review on Aloore Radio. We are transmitting from GSM Studio at the Ministry of Information and Orientation, Secretariat Agodi, Ibadan. You are welcome today, 10th February 2025. My name is Olukemi Omotosho. I have with me the Punch newspaper. And the first story I'm going to take is on the front page. It says 70,000 minimum wage. State salaries rise by 90% to 3.8 trillion naira. With the rider that says 27 states depends on federal allocation to pay salaries. Plans 6.259 trillion naira IGR. And coming from the front page, I have pictorials of Free Thailand's nationals. 5. Rivers community deserted as cultists kill 19 residents. And on crime page, pages 4 and 5, drug carriers excrete 125 heroin wrap at Lagos Port Harcourt airports. And coming from page 37, Kwakwanso wooing Aregbesola to get Southwest votes. And of course, you can check on page 18, page 12 for bank FBN holding stock gains 17.65%, emerges best performing tier 1 bank. That story can be found on the financial page, page 12 of the Punch newspaper. I'll quickly go to page 37. I have JAMB warns CBT centers against nighttime registration. Also, I have this story that says that no leader can be effective without stepping on toes. That is coming from former President Obasanjo, and that is coming from page 36. Still on that page, it says pro-Sarawiwa groups demand justice before Ogoni oil exploration. And still on that page, politicians fight not real, merely to entertain Nigerians. That is coming from Fayemi. And I'll quickly go to page 35. It says ETA advocates people-centered approach to workforce transformation, and telecom firms back plan to connect 28 million Nigerians. That story can be found on page 35 of the Punch newspaper. And of course, coming from page 34, over 70% of Lagos residents are tenants. That is coming from Redan. And the federal government begins 20 years mortgage financing at 12% increase. This and many more will give unto you after a short break. Please stay tuned.
Before to see a doctor, you must pay money first. Today, things don't change inside all your states. You register with Shikini money, you collect treatment 1 year. For your state health insurance agency, Oisha today. Insurance cover. You want bump picking, you want to surgery, eyes treatment, enter some call. Oh yeah, register today. Yeah, for your state health insurance agency, Oisha today.
Let us take you on a journey across continents as we bring you latest news, captivating stories, and diverse perspectives from around the globe. From breaking news headlines to fascinating features, discover the stories that shapes our society and the voices that demand to be heard. It's Newspaper Review on Aloore Radio.
You're welcome back to Newspaper Review on Aloore Radio. You can go on social medias. On Facebook, it is at Aloore Radio. And on YouTube, it is Aloore Radio. Our website remains www.alooreradio.com. And you can call in on 09039 853731. 09039 853731. Let me take the story of the minimum wage in details. From page 2, I have 70,000 minimum wage. State salaries rise by 90% to 3.8 trillion naira. The amount budgeted for personnel costs, including salaries and allowances to state civil servants, has increased from 2.036 trillion naira spent in 2024 to 3.87 trillion naira in the approved 2025 budget. Although the 36 subnational allocated a total sum of 2.8 trillion as salaries cost, it only paid out a total of 2.036 trillion naira within the 12 months of 2024, a reduction of 764 billion naira according to its budget implementation report. According to data obtained from the 2025 approved budget of the 36 state governments, the increase occasioned by the implementation of the newly approved 7,000 naira minimum wage and spiraling political appointment reflects an increase of nearly 90.23%. The approved budgets are also contained in Open States, a budget IT-backed website that serves as repository of government budget data. The budget report also indicates that at least 27 states of the Federation would not be able to pay workers' salaries this year without having to wait for federal allocations from the central government. In July 2024, President Bola Tinubu officially approved a significant increase in the minimum wage for Nigerian workers, raising it from 30,000 naira to 70,000 naira. If you're interested in that story, you can turn to page 2 of the Punch newspaper. 70,000 minimum wage. State salaries rise by 90% to 3.8 trillion naira. And from the crime page, I have drug carriers excrete 125 heroin wrap at Lagos, Port Harcourt airports. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have arrested two drug kingpins at the Port Harcourt International Airport and Murtala Mohammed International Airport, who excreted a total of 125 wraps of heroin. According to a statement by the agency's spokesman, Mr. Femi Babafemi, on Sunday, one of the kingpins uses dual identities to facilitate his cross-border movement. Babafemi said the suspect holds a Nigerian passport under his original name, Onyekwonike Olochukwu Sylvanus, 30 years, and a Sierra Leonean passport under a different name, Kagbo Mohammed Fohede. He was intercepted by the NDLEA officers with his Sierra Leonean passport on Sunday, February 2nd, 2025, at the Port Harcourt Airport, Rivers State, during the inward clearance of passengers on a Qatar Airways flight from Doha via Abuja to Port Harcourt. If you're interested in that crime story, you can turn to pages 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. Drug carriers excrete 125 heroin wraps at Lagos, Port Harcourt airport. And police hunt abductors after rescuing victim in Edo. Operatives of the Edo State Police Command have rescued a kidnapped victim, Osaze Okwongba, who was abducted at the power line area, Owanogba community in the outskirts of Benin on Friday. The State Command Police Relations Officer Moses Yamu, who revealed this in a statement on Sunday, said Okwongba had been reunited with his family after receiving medical treatment. He noted that efforts were on to apprehend the culprits and bring them to book. If you're interested in that story, you can turn to page 5 of the Punch newspaper. Police hunt abductors after rescuing victim in Edo. Also, still talking about abductors and criminals, government kidnaps Ondo farmer laborers, demand 15 million naira ransom. Some gunmen have kidnapped a farmer and a laborer at the Okeoge community in the Oba-Ile area of Akure, North Local Government area of Ondo State. The victims were said to have been abducted on Saturday evening while returning from the Akure airport. The commander of the State Security Network Agency, also known as Amotekun Akogun Adetunji Adeleye, who confirmed the incident, said his men are deployed to rescue the victims. He said, and I quote, "I can confirm to you that we are on top of the situation. They, that is the victims, were kidnapped while returning from the farm. Our men have been deployed to rescue them from the kidnappers' den." End of quote. If you're interested in that story, you can turn to page 2 or page 5 of the Punch newspaper. And still coming from page 4, 125 stolen manhole covers recover in Abuja. The Federal Capital Territory Police Command announced the recovery of 125 stolen manhole covers in Abuja, reaffirming its commitment to cracking down on criminals targeting public infrastructures. According to the command, the latest recovery was made on February 4th, 2025, during intelligence-led operations in the Daida area, where the items were hidden in a pit. The police stated that the breakthrough was made possible through a tip-off from a vigilant informant, underscoring the importance of public cooperation in tackling crime. In a statement issued on Sunday, the FCT Police Public Relations Officer, SP Josephine Ade, reiterated the command's commitment to fighting infrastructure theft. If you are interested in that story, you can turn to page 4 of the Punch newspaper. 125 stolen manhole covers recovered in Abuja. And coming from page 8, I have why we won't appear before Ikimi panel, Otom orders. As the crisis within the People's Democratic Party deepens, former Benue State Governor Samuel Otom and Senator Samuel Anyanwu, who were reportedly summoned by the National Disciplinary Committee led by former Foreign Affairs Minister Tom Ikimi, have said that they have yet to receive any official invitation. Both politicians, however, confirmed their willingness to appear before the panel once they receive formal notification. The Ikimi-led NDC had announced on Thursday that Otom, Anyanwu, and 10 other unnamed party members were expected to appear before the committee on Wednesday, February 12, 2025, at the Legacy House in Maitama, Abuja. If you are interested in that story, you can turn to page 8 of the Punch newspaper. And still on that page 8, I have bandits kill one, abduct many in Sokoto community attack. Suspected bandits attacked Rara community in the Raba local government area of Sokoto State in the early hours of Sunday, killing one person and abducting several others. According to local sources, the attack occurred about 1 a.m. shortly after a fire incident had already unsettled the residents. The gunmen stormed the community, firing periodically before kidnapping multiple people. Residents expressed fear and frustration over the persistent attacks, calling on the government and security agencies to take immediate action. If you are interested in that story, you can turn to page 8 of the Punch newspaper. And going to page 18, I have 12-year basic education. Federal government meets NUT principals Wednesday. The federal government is set to meet with the Nigerian Union of Teachers and the All Nigerian Federation of Principals of Secondary Schools on Wednesday to discuss the proposal by the Minister of Education, Mr. Tunji Alausa, to extend basic education to 12 years. The proposal, which aims to integrate junior and senior secondary education into a single continuous program, has sparked mixed reactions among education stakeholders, which calls for careful deliberation before any decision is made. In an exclusive interview, the national president of ANCOPS, Mr. Musa Ibrahim, clarified that while the minister had put forward the idea, it has not yet been enacted into law. He said, and I quote, "The minister has made a proposal, but it is not a law yet. He has simply suggested it. We haven't had the chance to discuss it thoroughly. We are not backing or rejecting this policy change just yet. What we need to do is look at the blueprints, whether it is a 12 years, 9 years or 10 years, it all depends, Ibrahim said. If you are interested in the full gist of that story, you can turn to page 18 of the Punch newspaper. 12 years basic education. Federal government meets NUT principals Wednesday. And coming from page 36 of the Punch newspaper, no leader can be effective without stepping on toes, Obasanjo. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has advised the newly appointed chairman of boards of management, Federal Medical Center Idi-Aba Abeokuta, Dr. Dayo Israel, to be prepared for challenges and, when necessary, step on toes to ensure a successful tenure. Obasanjo, who hosted Israel during a familiarization visit on Sunday, emphasized that effective leadership often requires making tough decisions. He said, and I quote, if you are doing a job and you are not stepping on toes, then you are not effective, Obasanjo said, stressing that no notable leader he had encountered ever succeeded without confronting obstacles. The former president also shared a personal anecdote, revealing that he once sacked his own daughter from his farm for coming late to work. If you are interested in the full gist of that story, you can turn to page 36 of the Punch newspaper. No leader can be effective without stepping on toes, Obasanjo. And on education, I have JAMB warns CBT centers against nighttime registration. The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board has warned computer-based test centers against conducting nighttime registration for the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. In a statement on Sunday by its public communication advisor, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, JAMB stressed that all registration activities must take place during appropriate hours to ensure the safety and security of prospective candidates. While acknowledging the efforts of some centers to accommodate more candidates, the board stressed that such practices should not compromise their well-being. He said, and I quote, JAMB publicly named and cautioned the following centers for violating its registration guidelines: Thomas Adewumi University in Oko, Kwara State; CBT Center, Otukpo in Otukpo, Benue State; Ebenezer International School in Port Harcourt, Rivers State; and Jigawa State College of Education, Gumel Center 1 in Gumel, Jigawa State; Lafiaji Emirates Information Technology and Innovation Hub in Lafiaji, and Academy in Okuku; Yala Cross River State, Sonny Michaela Comprehensive College in Jos Plateau. If you're interested in the story, you can turn to page 37 of the Punch newspaper. JAMB warns CBT centers against nighttime registration. And of course, on this political story, it says Kwakwanso wooing Aregbesola to get Southwest votes. That is coming from Kwakwanwasia Chieftain. Emerging information has suggested that last Saturday's meeting between former Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola and the national leader of the New Nigerian People's Party, Senator Rabiu Kwakwanso, may have been a strategic move by Kwakwanso to assess its political options in the Southwest ahead of the 2027 elections. The two political heavyweights held a closed-door meeting at Aregbesola's residence in Lagos. While details of their discussions were not made public, the encounter had fueled speculations about a possible coalition or alignment. If you are interested in that story, you can turn to page 37 of the Punch newspaper. Kwakwanso wooing Aregbesola to target Southwest votes. And on page 39, freed Thai nationals held captives in Gaza return home. 5 child nationals held captives in Gaza for more than a year have returned home after being released last month. Wachara Shion were hugged by their family after they landed at Bangkok airport on Sunday morning. He said, and I quote, "We are all deeply touched to come back to our birthplace, to be standing here," Pongsang, 36, said. "I don't know what else to say. We are all truly thankful." If you are interested in that international story, you can turn to page 39 of the Punch newspaper. 3 child nationals held captives in Gaza returned home. And still on Gaza story, Israel troops withdraws from corridor that splits Gaza in 2. Israel troops have withdrawn from the Nahtzion corridor, a military zone cutting off the north of the Gaza Strip from the south, the BBC reports. Hundreds of Palestinians in cars and on carts laden with mattresses and other goods began returning to North Gaza following the pullout, often scenes of utter destruction. The Israeli withdrawal is in line with the Israel-Hamas ceasefire agreement of 19th January, under which 16 Israeli hostages and 566 Palestinian prisoners have so far been freed. By the end of the first stage of the ceasefire, in 3 weeks' time, 33 hostages and 1,900 prisoners are expected to have been freed. Israel says 8 of the 33 are dead. If you're interested in that story, you can turn to page 39 of the Punch newspaper. And coming from the sports page, I have Kuti set for African Cup debut in Tunisia. Nigerian table tennis sensation Matthew Kuti has been penned by the Nigerian Table Tennis Federation to make his debut at the 2025 African Cup, which will be played from February 25th to 27th in Tunisia. Kuti, who has demonstrated why he is one of the continent's rising stars, will join a star-studded cast for the tournament, which will also feature the likes of Quadri Haruna, Omar Azar, and Dina Massouf. If you're interested in that story, you can turn to page 45 of the Punch newspaper. And with that sports story, we have come to the end of today's newspaper review on Aloore Radio. You can like and share on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Aloore Radio. On YouTube, it is at Aloore Radio. And you can call in on 09039853731. 09039853731. Thanks for listening and do have a wonderful day. My name is